Hello, world. Here with me today is a marketing leader with decade-long talents being recognized by many for capturing brands' voice and creating stop the scroll moments across corporate social media feeds. Currently serving as the Director of Social Media and Digital Content at Corel, she's here today to get radically transparent about what's keeping her up at night professionally as a marketing leader and what she's learned from launching 3 beyond successful employee advocacy programs. So with that said, please join me in welcoming the one, the only Stephanie Carls, Director of Social Media and Digital Content at Corel, to the show. Stephanie, are you ready to get radically transparent with me?
I'm all set. Let's do this.
Let's do it. So listen, truth be told, before this episode, I went over to your LinkedIn profile and I was doing my due diligence. And I always like to kick off the show with our guests explaining a brief look, right, into their professional journey. And I was curious to understand a little bit, because you do have a unique background. How did you find yourself as Director of Social Media and Digital Content at Corel?
So with your intro, you had mentioned decade-long experience, which is really crazy to think about because I've been in social since 2010. So that's a very long time. And that really has given me, I think, a ton of experience to come by. So that all started on the agency side and then brand side, going into a lot of the different startups, so SaaS-based platforms that were there to then help people do certain things with their social media. So kind of going in and acting as an advisor, so customer success side, but usually still around tech and social, and then landed back into the brand side. And that all started then with Mobile Iron. And then we were kind of changing everything and not only just building out a brand new social strategy, but also a brand new brand, a look, a feel, a voice. And so that kind of started catapulting then that love for building out brands. So Mobile Iron was then that first one. And then we were acquired by Avanti, and we were part of a 3-way merger. And then we continued to acquire additional companies. So building out a lot of new strategies as we went along. And then the opportunity presented itself at Corel to literally do the exact same thing. So building out something entirely brand new. And I think that's what I love about this, because even with those different opportunities, social never stays the same. It's always changing. And so I think it keeps you on your toes at all times.
Absolutely. And, to say that you're right, doing social since 2010, especially right, Facebook, I think was one of the big first social networks, 2004, 2005, was LinkedIn, what, 2007? So technically, right, like you were at its infancy when social was becoming a thing, right? So we'll get into that in a moment. But as we've kind of thrown around Corel, the brand, a few times now, can you share in one quick elevator pitch sentence, what is Corel and what's the value you bring to your customers?
So Corel is a suite of different products. And so we are really well known for a lot of our creative products like Corel Draw. We even go into Corel Painter. We have WordPerfect. We have Parallels. We have Mind Manager, WinZip. I'm sure a lot of these are coming out as like, oh, I had no idea that Corel owned all of those different products. And one of the things that I particularly love with Corel and what we're doing is that there is a true, real passion from our employees about creating amazing products and tools, but then also providing the support and the ongoing conversations to ensure that we're meeting all of those needs for our customers, and our employees genuinely care about the success that our customers are seeing, and especially adding in that human and personal touch. And I really, truly believe that sets us apart from a lot of other people.
I love hearing that. And I'm going to cut right to the chase because, right, at the end of the day, it's a great brand. We know a lot of the products that you threw out they're like almost household names, if not household names. So I want to just jump right to it. Stephanie, what on earth is keeping you up at night professionally?
So we, as a company, and so obviously, as I was mentioning, all of those different products that we own, as a company, we are going through a very large transformation. And that can mean a lot of different things to many different people, but we are going through and building out a brand new brand. And so we have an agency that we're working with, and it's going to be in a truly exciting and transformational year, because probably by July, we will be announcing all of these new things to the public and kind of going through. And so it's really taking that transformation and figuring out, okay, here's the old community that was there. What do we do to continually build out into this new community? And as we are here on the radical transformation piece and being, radically informative too, is that, it's really just trying to figure out the best ways that we can continually engage with these community members, because some of them have been here for a while. Some of them are brand new. And so we want to make sure that we are actively finding new ways to talk to them and bring them in and talk about all the new and exciting things happening, because that, really wasn't there before. And I think that's making a really big difference.
Listen, I think that, right, old versus new, that's definitely something, even here at Oktopost, I think in any role I've ever had, it's always at the forefront of trying to figure out your next move and your next strategy, right? Because, right, there's that saying, you're only as weak, as your least informed or least knowledgeable team member, right? Or you're only as strong. And so what were some of the ways that you're bridging together or working to bring those groups together? Or are you keeping them, two separate communities, and do you cater to them as two separate entities?
It's really bringing everyone together. And one of the big changes that, is happening here at Corel is that we are actively engaging these individuals, because not to say that social, was not a big part of marketing and communication. It was one of those like, it's a little piece, it's here. But then that's where, our brand new corporate communications team is really coming in to change everything. And we are here with a brand new voice. We are way more exciting. We are way more engaging, because we really want these community members to know that, we are here. We appreciate that they're here. We love when they are sharing their creative products or projects with us, and, really going through and developing those relationships, because those weren't there before. We would, I noticed that there would be posts that would go out, but then as we would have users respond, no one would respond from our side. And that goes right back into, the beginning of social media. Why are we here? Why is it important? And it's to help build those relationships and communicate with those people that love your brand. And, whether it is we love you, or, hey, I need some help, having that piece of communication with them is the absolute most important thing.
So I really appreciate that you brought that up, right? Because at the end of the day, social media was designed to be just that, right? To be social digitally, but be social. Mm-hmm. So what I'm curious to know, you're talking about the old community, the new community, we're talking about bringing people together. Could you walk us through what Corel's evolution on social media looked like over the years? And then, taking that a step further, in your opinion, what has actually changed you in, for the better, for the good overall this time? And then also in retrospect, right? Hindsight is 2020, looking back, what do you think has changed maybe that is less preferable, or maybe you miss about the good old days?
So for Corel, I have been here since October, and that is one of those where it's a short amount of time, but I think that we've made some amazing changes within that short amount of time. And I know that we're probably going to be talking about some of these different stats later on, but stats don't lie. And I think that that's been one of the most important pieces, where not only has that voice been adjusted, but then, the amount of posts that are going out has actually been cut down, but yet our impressions and our engagement is up. And so it is a true testament to understanding what type of content is going to resonate with that community, but then also engaging them. And then that's also going to help drive the strategy for the rest of this, year, and even just in maybe even a short amount of time, just to understand what is something that your community is needing. What do they need from you? And I think that that's been one of those biggest changes where you're able to go in, and that engagement wasn't there before, that was coming from the brand. And so that was a very easy change to go in and make. I think it probably also has to be one of my favorites, where you can go in and start having these conversations, and you as the brand being able to talk and engage with these people. That has made such a huge difference, because now we have people that keep coming back and they're sharing things with us. And that's because now their trust is there in the brand, and knowing that someone's going to respond to them. If I need some help, we're going to respond. We're going to be able to help out, because that just hasn't been there before. And that was one major change that I think has truly made a huge difference.
I want to jump, right? So you mentioned, right, some of the changes, and I want to jump, right? You said, right, stats don't lie. And you are no stranger. I mean, you are, I think, known to so many of us in the industry as kind of the employee advocacy queen when it comes to rolling out successful programs. And you're certainly no stranger to the power of employee advocacy, right? Not only do you roll them out, but you seriously have led, and we've seen that, some of the most successful and engaging programs. A lot of questions for you, but for the sake of time, a few questions for you here, right? What on earth have you learned rolling out 3 different programs to 3 different teams when it comes to employee advocacy?
I think one of those biggest pieces is there's no better time to go. You have to jump, you have to make that move, and you some of the time might be leading that charge on your own in terms of getting everything started, getting people in. But I think the biggest piece is to understand that the questions that I get the most, or at least the concerns that I hear from employees before we get started, or even just about social media in general, once they notice all of these different changes coming up, and then we start talking about getting employees talking on their own channels, is, but what do I say? When do I say it? Am I gonna mess up? Am I gonna do the wrong thing? And that's where the training piece, I think, has been the absolute key to all of these different programs. So I used, the past couple of times with those different launches, this is the exact same thing that I had done, but then did a little bit differently than here at Corral. And so I went through, and we have an intranet, and I went and did different videos. So I went and introduced myself, because there's a lot of people who have not met me yet. But then going in, introducing myself, talking about what we were doing, introducing employee advocacy and why it's important. And then they are having individual videos that are taking them through all of the different steps to get them started. And then we had a company-wide quick little like a lunch and learn, so a Corral Connect, where we had almost 300 people there to go in and understand, going through that tour, meeting me, understanding again why employee advocacy is the most important thing that they can do to become a thought leader, to start sharing the information about the company. And I think that once people see how easy these, the platform is there, and how easy it is to get started, and then they see all of the content that is available, that's where it truly makes the difference. Is you have to make sure to just push on and have everything ready for them, because once they see it, they're going to want it.
I love that. Are the videos that you're making, are they like on demand, or are like you signing up for like office hours? How are you, scaling and keeping up with, right, all the people who are participating in the program and keeping it fresh?
So content, first of all, is one of the best ways to keep it fresh. And so I think with Oktopost and having that daily email that comes in with all of the new content, that alone is amazing, because it's that quick little reminder. And then having the different integration pieces. So the Microsoft Teams integration has been a key in keeping people engaged, because then as people are in meetings and they're talking about some of the new launches coming up, or we have a new blog post that's explaining something, or we're at an event, they literally, I showed them in some of the videos how to toss those social posts inside to their team's conversations. And nobody has to leave and go into a browser or go into another app on their phone. And so all of those different videos are there on the intranet. And so they're there on demand. You can watch them at any time, go through. And so that has really taken away those different worries and those questions that people come up with, because I can say, actually, there's a really quick video. It's available there for you. Ping me if you have any questions. But it's been successful in terms of getting people launched and ready to go.
Yeah, I would definitely say that that's some of the greatest fear, right, of someone running in a program is how do you get everybody up to speed and trained, especially when not everyone in the company is marketers, right? People are hired to do different things. And I think what's interesting speaking to you, you're truly in one of the most unique positions because you've done this, right? It's not your first time. It's not your first rodeo rolling out a program. What is something you wish you would have known today about employee advocacy that when you were launching, let's say your first program, that would have made your life so much easier?
I think kind of coming in and, having more of that training available. With my first one, there was, one quick little, introduction that we did within the company, but then I did have weekly emails that went out, and I would always talk about all the new things going on and saying, hey, it's there and it's ready for you to share on your social channels. Head on over to Oktopost. If you're not in there yet, you need to make sure and go in and do that, and then gamifying it. That has also been another big key. And so that's one of the big things that I did with the first one, and kind of, then continued this on. And that is something that, even now I am hoping to really continue to gamify that even more, because people are competitive. They want to have a really good time. And I think adding that fun into this has been, really transformational to keep them going and to keep them excited. And so I think that all of those different pieces of just that constant communication is always helpful.
Love it. Last question on advocacy. I'm going to jump to a different one, but for everyone listening in, what's the one piece of advice that you would give to somebody embarking on employee advocacy if they were CMO or VP?
I think for that one is that we all want to think that the brand is a very powerful voice online, but it's important. But I think the other thing is to remember that, again, the stats don't lie, and it's truly that voice, and the power of that voice is truly with the employees. Because as we all well know, I can get the information from a brand, but if I have a friend or a family member, maybe another connection that's just there on LinkedIn, I'm probably going to start looking at what they're saying about a product or a service way more than what a brand is going to say. And so we want to think that the brand's voice is extremely powerful, which it is. But again, those stats are not lying whenever it comes to how powerful the employees are versus the brand.
So I'm going to get radically transparent. Do you happen to have any of those stats handy to throw off at us, or is that a little too transparent for today?
I'm ready for it.
All
I
right.
actually prepared. So I have some of these different things. So in the past 30 days at Corel, we have 122 advocates. And so in those past 30 days, there have been 943 posts shared. Okay. There's been, our reach is now over 1.4 million in those past 4 days. There's been 4,000 engagements. We have a click-through rate of 8.5%. And then our engagement rate is 30%. And the other fast piece that I'm going to add in here when it comes to that brand voice is that 98% of the reach on LinkedIn is earned, meaning it's coming from our advocates. And so we're looking at, the brand. We were only able to reach 18,000 people, but whenever it came to the advocates, we had a reach of over 1 million just on LinkedIn. And so that's where, that biggest piece comes in, that no matter how many followers you have on a page, that does not mean that that is the number of people that your message is actually going to go in and reach. The power is still with your employee's voice.
That is absolutely unbelievable, because keep me honest, I mean, the program at Corral that you just launched, it's pretty new, right? New-ish?
It's brand new. They have not had it before. No one has even done this. We, had a small little program with one of the products. And so it wasn't rolled out to all employees. And so now all employees have it. And even with 122, that reach is something that still blows my mind.
Outstanding. So I think that's a phenomenal one piece of advice and some great stats. In terms of advice that you might give to a head of social or director of social, or even a practitioner, when it comes to advocacy rollout, what would your one piece of advice for them be?
I think one of the biggest pieces is to have a good collection of content that's available. Because if somebody logs in for the first time and they're only seeing maybe like 5 pieces of content, just wait on it just for a little bit. Because when people log in and they have an entire collection of things to go through, and then you show great ways that they can start using the platform with filtering and kind of going through all of that, that's where, that training comes in as well. And so when you have this like huge amount of content, obviously you don't want it to be overwhelming. That's when I think that your employees are able to see, okay, I definitely can figure out something that I want to talk about on my own platforms, because not all of the content that's in there is for everybody. You have, maybe different sales reps that are over a certain type of, for us, it would be a certain product, or we have people that are trying to talk to partners. So you have all of the different types of content that you need to have available for all those people to help everyone feel like they're included. And so roll it out in phases. That's one of the biggest things that we're doing right now, is that I had to make that very clear that we have phases. But we had to at least start and get it going. And that's that other thing, is just start. And you have to do it. There's never going to be a better time. And have the content that's there, be understanding with people, show them how to use it. And I think that it's going to be just a one powerful thing that your company has probably never seen before.
Listen, I'm listening to this and I'm like, where do I sign up? I mean, I've been like, I want to be part of Corral's advocacy program with you leading, like the enthusiasm and the know-how. It's really incredible to see. And and as you said, right, in 2010, employee advocacy wasn't even on the map, right? And here we are, 10 years, a little bit more later, and it's this entire monster of a machine that really is making such an impact for B2B organizations. So I could talk advocacy all day, every day. And I feel like we're going to have you back to do that, because there's so many more questions I have to get radically transparent about somebody running a program, because I always like to joke, the easy part is launching, the hard part is maintaining. So we'll probably have you back. To be fair, right? Yeah. Every episode we like to keep, so if you're walking your dog and you're just getting back to the house, or, having your breakfast, I want to, thank you for joining us, and end with the last question, which is my favorite. What's the one thing about yourself that you can share with us right now on this podcast? It doesn't have to be employee advocacy related, that we wouldn't be able to find out from just looking at your LinkedIn.
I think one of those things, I feel like there's a couple different ones that I could go for, is that I love music. I'm a musician. So I have played piano since I was in kindergarten.
Oh my God.
And then played oboe and ranked as one of the top players for the state of Illinois, and then continued to play in college in the orchestra. Okay. So it's one of those little fun hidden talents.
So tell me this, if we were to go ahead and put your name in YouTube, would we find any concert pieces or anything we should know to listen to some Stephanie Carl's music?
So if you put my name in YouTube, you will see the other side of social media for me, which is being a content creator for consumer tech products. And so that's everything you will see right there. But that's still kind of, on my LinkedIn. So I couldn't go in and mention that one, but that's also one of those like fun pastimes. So bringing social and using it then for myself.
Fantastic. I love it. Stephanie, thank you for getting radically transparent with me today and going so deep into employee advocacy. If anybody listening in, any CMOs, VPs, practitioners, want to chat advocacy, want to pick your brain as somebody who's done this successfully so many times, where is the best place for people to reach you?
They can definitely reach out on LinkedIn, on Twitter. I've always told people that if they say that they're not able to find me on the internet, they're obviously not looking hard enough. So any place, I'm definitely there to answer, help out. It's always great to connect with other people. And it's truly a passion of mine, as you can hear with all the different pieces that came with the different programs. So happy to help out in any way.
Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Radically Transparent podcast, brought to you by Oktopost, the only social media management and employee advocacy platform architected for B2B. I'm Jennifer Gutman, your host and director of social strategy here at Oktopost. And if you love today's show, we'd love if you subscribe, rate, and give a raving review wherever you get your podcasts. For more discussion on B2B social media marketing, be sure to follow Oktopost on LinkedIn. And of course, to gain access to all our free social media marketing and employee advocacy resources, head on over to our website, www.oktopost.com. Until next time.